He's Stonebraker and he does stuff, yeah. Feel the hum of the wheels out there. Not perfect, but he dares to dream. Hit that subscribe, make that bell scream.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Stonebraker does stuff. It is about 6:30 p.m. on a 70 degrees. It may even got a little chillier, but I love it. Monday, August 25th, 2025. Fall weather has definitely been here the last few days. This whole week is supposed to be in like the mid to upper 70s. I didn't see 80 degrees until like next week, and even then it was like 80 or 81. So yeah, fall is coming, and I'm perfectly fine with this type of weather. And I'm back on the Andsky. So we've got the Ans Sky S700 back. I picked it up from my friend on Saturday, and like had it ridden it for a while, and like you kind of forget that, you know, this is it's a cheap bike, but it's comfy. And you kind of forget that. Maybe it's because I was on the EBIKES and just didn't have the comfort level that I enjoy with these giraffe stem T-shaped handlebars. So yeah, really comfy. And another thing I've kind of noticed too is I forgot these brakes. Really good, really quiet. Like, here, I'll give you an example. Yeah, like they're so smooth, you can just slowly press them in, or you can kind of lock them up a little bit. And yeah, it's nice to have that, because the EBIKES, even with those $37 brakes I put on it that at least allow me to not feel like I'm gonna die every time I hit the brakes, they're still kind of loud. But yeah, these are really silent, and it's fantastic. So, and there's a tractor up ahead. So I wanted to get out on the bike today, first off, just because the cooler weather. I really wanted to get out here. Sun's going down a little bit, so it is a little bit chillier. But this is, I love this time of year. Give it a few more weeks and the leaves are gonna be changing. Perfect e-bike weather. Right now I'm going out by the golf course. I just like to ride out here and picture that I'm a YouTube millionaire and I own a home here. So it's okay to use your imagination. But what I wanted to kind of talk about today is, I got a few things we could talk about, but I think I'll hold those to some later videos. But I had a conversation with a friend of mine Sunday. And we were talking about my e-bikes and stuff, and kind of like they were pretty new to e-bikes, and was just kind of curious about like how many e-bikes I've had, what they cost, all that good stuff. And you know, I was kind of going over the basics of like, well, you know, you could spend this much. Hold on, this is a big dog right here. Hopefully I don't get attacked. That is a real big dog. Oh. Hi, buddy. Oh. Okay. Alright, so we survived that. Must have been a really friendly dog. A lot of times people, when they have those big dogs like that, even if it's a friendly dog, you know, they're gonna like hold it back or whatever. But nope. He must have been a good boy. But so I was talking to one of my friends, and we were kind of going over my bikes, and I'm like, you know, well, I started riding e-bikes in August of 2023, and then I started going over that bike, that bike, that bike, that. So yeah, so I started going over all the bikes, and she was trying to like be like, wow, that's a lot of money. You could have bought a car, you could have done this, which like technically, yeah. But I had to tell her, I'm like, yeah, that's quite a few e-bikes, but they're not expensive e-bikes for the most part. You know, I have a couple bikes. I've owned a couple bikes. Really, only one that I would probably say is on the higher end as far as cost. But everything else is pretty much been like a cheaper bike. You know, $1,200 or less. So we were kind of talking about that, and like I couldn't necessarily explain to her, but I will. So like if you've been watching the channel, obviously, you know, I'll go through bikes a lot. I'll get a bike, and you know, 6 or 7 months later, or once the riding season ends and it sits there, I just get the urge to like sell it because I'm not going to use it. And then 5 months later, when the weather's warming up, I'm like, okay, I'm getting the urge again. So I'm obviously not the best person to follow for financial advice on what to do with your money, but to me, it makes more sense to me that I know I'm probably going to buy something and I'm not going to keep it for years, you know, unless it's a more expensive bike. But I also know that where I live, if I want to sell an e-bike, it is much easier for me, and this is one of the reasons that I like buying the, you know, $800 to $1,200 e-bikes, which is, you know, relatively cheap e-bikes compared to, you know, spending $2,000 on a bike, $1,500, anything like that. Because to me, if I've got an e-bike that brand new is $1,000 and I had it for 6 months and I've put 400 miles on it, and I've got, get past this truck here, but I've got, you know, a couple $100 in added accessories to it. It's much easier for me to post an e-bike for $700 or $600 for sale, as opposed to buying a $2,000 e-bike and trying to sell it for $1,500-$1,600. Most people, especially here, they're going to look at it and they're not going to understand. They're like, this e-bike he's selling for $600. Why is he selling this one for $1,600? People enjoying the trail here. Hey. But anyways, yeah, back to the story here. So, like for me, if I buy an $800 e-bike, I can turn around and sell it for $600, and it sells much quicker because people just see $600. Other than buying a $2,000 e-bike and, like I said, trying to sell it for $1,500 or $1,600, most people are not going to even think twice about that $1,500, $1,600 price. But if you know, they see $600, it's like, okay, that's more in line. And sorry. So yeah, as a person that will constantly buy and sell these bikes, I can get them in and out a little bit quicker, you know, if it's a cheaper bike and stuff like that. And most people don't know the difference between a cheap bike and an expensive bike. They don't know ghost pedaling, you know, they don't know battery size, stuff like that. You can educate them, and I've had a lot of fun educating like local people and stuff, but it's still to the point where it's better off to, if I know I'm going to buy and sell quickly, it's better off to get a cheaper bike and then try to sell it. And, you know, you're going to lose money. Unfortunately, I'm going to lose money, but you're not going to lose quite as much money, and you have a better chance of selling it. And, man, I talked about it being chilly. Yes, very much so. Excuse me. Sorry, I should use my horn. Yeah, it's nice to have the Andsky back. In my video, and probably every other person's video that has had this bike, we've all kind of said the same thing, that if you're looking to get into e-bikes and you want something just to get around and do what it should do, this is a perfect bike for it. There are a few small things, though, that I have definitely noticed about the bike. And obviously the ghost pedaling, we've talked about that. Pretty much anytime you're over about 16 to 17 miles an hour, unless you want to give it, you know, a little more pedal power. You're going to kind of ghost pedal. But a lot of times when you're pedaling and you stop pedaling, the motor keeps going. So it will still go for sometimes 3 to 4 seconds. I've gotten used to it, obviously. I kind of know, you know, if I want to let off a little bit, I'll have to do that and give it time for the motor to shut off. But it's not one of these instant things. And if you're someone that maybe has like never ever been on an e-bike, you know, that's something that you'd probably want to tell the person, like, hey, okay, the motor's going to kick on. As soon as you stop pedaling, it's not going to stop right away. So you need to be prepared for it to go a little bit. But that's not a major thing. I mean, that's not a deal breaker. You just got to kind of get used to it. And then also, and this again is not a major thing, is I'm one of these people that when I'm pedaling, sometimes I'll pedal backwards. And I've noticed a few times with this bike, when I'm pedaling backwards, the chain comes loose. Now you pedal forward and it goes right back on. And I'm pretty confident that's just like a adjustment that needs made back there. I just haven't gotten around to do it because I'm 70% a lazy man in my life. But that's another small thing. But really, besides that, I can't think of much else. It's just a very, you know, does what it's supposed to do e-bike. And see, like right now, it was doing what I was talking about, where it was still going even though I had stopped pedaling. So, but for $729 at my time of purchase, it's a really great deal. I think I checked on this bike recently, and I think it's gone back to $1,000. So I'll have to see. The deal I had is definitely gone. So we will see. But if it stays around or whether somebody else takes ownership, it's a good bike. You know, I really have no reason that I want to get rid of it. This little lady. Okay, she's turning. I was going to turn. I thought I was going to get stuck behind her. I was going to race her. Maybe she'd race me for pinks, right? I don't know if an e-bike has a pink, but I'll see if I can find one. It's just a good bike. You can't really, you got to kind of ride it to explain it. It's just, you know, there's not anything like crazy special about it, but it just serves its purpose. It's a cadence sensor e-bike. If you're looking for an e-bike that you can ride and get all kinds of exercise and pump them legs up and impress all the old ladies that live 5 miles down the road, yeah, it's not gonna happen. But, you know, if you wanna get out here and ride and go to the store and just ride and stuff like that, it's fantastic for it. So we will see what the future holds with the Ans Sky S700 when it comes to future videos. As I always do, if I do end up selling it, you know, I will go ahead and mention that in the next video that I record after it. Speaking of the next videos, I've got a few videos that I want to do. So I want to do, before I sell the Ans Sky, if I do sell it, I want to do a range test. That's something that I've done on all the bikes. I've been saying that for a little bit, but that usually requires a weekend. And last few Sundays, I've been watching my niece play softball from like pretty much noon to about 6. So not a lot of time with that. And then Saturdays, I usually have some things I got to do. So just trying to find a few hours to do a range test. I may try to do that Saturday. So I want to do a range test on the Ans Sky. I want to also do a range test on the EBIKES M1 Pro. I've been constantly monitoring what people have been saying about it, and a lot of anger towards EBIKES lying about the batteries. They were saying the batteries were Samsung batteries, and their website said they were Samsung batteries. And somebody literally opened it up and found out they were lies. So now EBIKES, from what I've read and what I've seen, has pretty much removed all wording on their website that they use Samsung cells. So kind of a shady practice, but you know, that bike is kind of shady out of the box anyway, so I don't know if I would expect much less from them. But I'm going to do a range test on that. Some people saying the batteries have gotten, you know, 50 miles, and some people are saying they've rode 22 miles and the battery was half dead. So, you know, that might be some lighter people, could be some heavier people. So I'm probably like right in the middle of that. So we'll see what I can do personally on the range test. I'll make sure the battery's fully charged. I'll make sure my energy is as fully charged as we can get it, because just haven't had a lot of energy, a lot of pep recently. So we'll do that. Probably want to do a comparison video, and I'll kind of explain that in a future video. So we'll go all that. We'll get a couple videos. I'll probably have at least one more video during the weekday. I'm going to upload this tonight. This is going to be a quick video. I always say it's going to be a quick video, but you know, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of editing on this one. So this will be uploaded tonight. Friday, probably Friday or Thursday, I'll probably do another video. I got those video ideas I talked about, and I also want to kind of talk about Mokwheel, but I want to do that on the Mokwheel bike. So I was going to do that today just to kind of give them more praise, because they're a really good company, and I have even some more good news from them today. So we'll wait till that. But the Mokwheel, the battery base that I told you I haven't had for about 3 weeks, and they were out of stock, and they told me they didn't know when they'd get it, and yada yada. They emailed me today saying it shipped. So I'm expected to have that Thursday. So I'll be able to ride the Mokwheel Thursday as long as it comes. And I think probably Friday I'll do a video on it and just kind of giving some praise, because everyone hates on e-bike companies, myself included. But I want to give Mokwheel some more praise and stuff. And, you know, I mentioned I had some decisions to make about a new bike. Did I want to buy a long range battery? Did I want to buy another cheap bike? Did I want to buy a crazy expensive bike that I've always wanted, which, spoiler alert, that didn't happen. But yeah, we'll kind of talk about that. We'll leave that to a different video. I think we're going to title this something about why I like buying cheap e-bikes. I like them because I can sell them. I can sell them and lose money, but I don't lose as much money as I probably would lose if I bought a more expensive bike. Plus, you know, it allows me to experience different styles of bikes. If I was buying $2,000 bikes, I would not be able to afford two bikes. But, you know, if I'm buying $800 bikes, you know, I can get fat tire, folding, I can get a 26-inch tire, I could buy a cargo if I could find one. Yeah, just a lot more options, a lot more different styles of bikes, and that's what I like. I like torque, cadence, fat tire, 26-inch. I just like having different styles of e-bikes, and if I was to go out and buy these expensive bikes, I definitely couldn't do it. And then if I did try to sell those bikes, I'd be losing any more money. So I'm gonna go down here, turn back around, head home, get this video uploaded, and I'll see you in the next one.